Daniel, you were talking about being very ambitious with the artwork. Can you each of you talk about one of the most challenging parts of your work?
That's doing a good job, I think. No, I think the most challenging is probably just stepping up. I guess sometimes it's challenging, like when you have to like come up with an idea. Like I find it like there's a lot of creative people I work with. Obviously, like you see, like there's Kid-Guy Matt and all these concept artists and writers and stuff that it seems like they're really creative all the time. And so sometimes it's hard, like when you get assigned something, it's like, hey, we need this, and you want to give it a shot, and it's like, okay. And you don't, like, it can't just be generic or something, because Daniel will get on your case, so it's like you have to, like, make it, like, unique, and I think sometimes it is kind of hard to be, like, have a good idea, like, every day, so...
Yeah, it is true that I push these guys a lot, and they can never afford to get, lazy and, generic, as Rich said. But it's just as true that they are pushing me just as much, if not more. So for me, the most challenging part is basically keeping up with this huge team of very, very talented young guys who are extremely competitive and extremely competent, and they are not cutting me any slack. So they force me to stay on top of my game, and day in and out, and never give me a breather, and that's extremely exciting, and it's the best part of my job. They just don't allow me to get rusty, so I hope to be able to keep up with them for as long as I can.
I kind of echo that kind of mentality. I've been at the company a while, so I feel that pressure, as being a senior artist there. There's so many, the talent is amazing, and I feel like the quality, I have to keep increasing it and setting an example in the same way that Rich and Daniel both mentioned. And it is that pressure. It's just always there. It's definitely healthy, but it can get at you from time to time, and you'll just be working on something, and I haven't completely snapped yet, but it's always there, and it's going to make the game better. But you have to keep your cool.
Any questions from the audience?
Do we get to see Ascalon again? Do we get to see Ascalon again?
Well, Regina, is that a safe question?
I don't think we're talking about that.
We're not talking about that right now, I think.
Actually, you have to leave.
One of the questions I've seen a lot on the forums is how long does it take to create a piece of concept art?
It depends a great deal. For me, I used to be able to produce a piece a day, sometimes 2 pieces a day on a really good day, but that was back when we had a handful of people on the team, and there wasn't, and the scope of the project wasn't anywhere as big as it is now. Nowadays, with all the project management side of the work, and meetings and collaborations with design, and running around and overseeing the implementation of the vision, I rarely have more than 20 minutes at a time to sit down and actually do hands-on work. So it takes me at times, 4 or 5 days to finish a piece that I should be able to do in a day easily.
Yeah, for me, I think it's sometimes it's hard to say, like, if I have like already something to go off of, or the ideas already been kind of given to me, then it's basically like sometimes you just have it and you can just in one day you just bang it out. But then I've also had times when I'm like, all right, I've been on this thing for 5 days and it's totally like, I'm like, all right, this is complete garbage, and I'll erase it, and then I'll just stay after work for a couple hours, and just all of a sudden I've got something good and new. Like in a couple hours, it's weird. You can spin your wheels, and I think you just kind of have to know like when to stop and read, or just start over, or like do something like that. But it's like, I'm sure everybody has days like which sometimes you're on it, sometimes you're not. So but usually a few days is probably like a give for like illustrations.
Okay, another question that I've seen around is, are there any major differences between how you approached art in Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars versus Guild Wars 2? And can you talk about any of those differences?
Well, for the environments, working on environments now, it's so much more freedom. You can jump, you can swim, you can just travel all around these areas that we create. So it's a lot more just engaging, and I play a ton of games myself, so I find myself just running around the levels I work on or props I make, and making sure it's just a fun thing to explore first and foremost. So that's the first Guild Wars was a lot more limited in where you could go, and we wouldn't want to tease players too much by acting like you could get a certain place, but now we can really push that exploration, and on the art side, that's one of the major changes, along with the graphical enhancements that we have.
One major difference is that this time around, the engine is a true 3D engine. The first time around, we used to call it a 2.5D, meaning that the game would recognize coordinates in the horizontal plane, but you were not able, for instance, to have multi-leveled buildings or platforms, or to spawn characters or creatures at multiple levels above each other. This time around, we can do that, and we also have as Jason said, the ability to jump and swim. Swimming is basically moving freely in 3D space. So the whole approach to designing space has changed. We need to take advantage of the ability to move in the vertical axis and build that verticality and those opportunities into our environment. So that kind of changes the mind set altogether.
From the first game, I think the only difference I really see right now is that we're definitely pushing for a more painter, connected to the art feel for the entire game. So I think a lot of direction we're given and stuff is, like, for instance, we're working on the cinematics as well, and everything, and including I'm not sure if I can talk about this, but there's a lot of little things in the game that you'll see that are we're trying to make it almost like a link between the concept art and the 3D stuff. So it's we're putting in a lot of pan release things, and it's kind of I'm given a lot of projects that are just creating a lot of interesting textures and pan release stuff that we can put I don't know what I can talk about, what I can't.
Let me help you out.